Hi everyone, how are you? I hope you can hear me today. Let's get situated here before we get started, and while everyone gets logged on, you get to see my stuff behind me today. Sorry, I know there's a lot going on back there, but my printer's completely out of ink. Here's the reality of my life at the moment. And I like to print myself some notes for my talks, and I can't because my printer's out of ink. So I'm going to sit by my computer and hopefully, have these to refer to a little bit, my notes to refer to a little bit while we get started. Sorry, I can't position myself so it's out of the way, but you get a little glimpse of my workspace. We're going to talk about reducing stress before and during medical fertility treatments because I've come across some recent research that I'll share with you. So a little tour of my corner in my office. So let's keep it real. I share a room with my husband. So in the majority of the room are all of his things, all of his hunting and fishing things. I'm sorry if that's not your thing, but it's his. There are pictures of fish and fishing poles and taxidermied fish and neon beer signs, and it's a man cave. But I get one corner, and here it is. All my herb books back there on my shelf with some art that I've been gifted over the past. My herb calendar, a photo of my son when he was teeny weeny, and all of my other stuff. So anyway, welcome to my life, my office life. So anyway, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining. My name is Elizabeth Willett. I am Senior Herbalist with the Natural Fertility Company. We're the naturalfertilityshop.com and naturalfertilityinfo.com. I'm sorry I missed you all last week, but it was a holiday for me and those of us who celebrate Thanksgiving. So I hope that you had a nice long weekend and a relaxing day filled with all the food that you love. It's, what it's all about for most of us anyway. I ate too much like I always do. Anyway, we're back today and we're going to talk about reducing stress before and during medical fertility treatments. And this comes on the heel of some recent scouring of scholarly journals that I've been doing. We belong to, I watch a few different journals. One is Fertility and Sterility. If you've ever read our references on some of our articles, you'll see that. And I also have commonly learned some things from the American Society of Reproductive Medicine. I look at what they're doing. I watch that for us so that we can let you guys know when there's amazing, cool things happening, which there always are, but a lot of it isn't what we share. So studies are continuing to prove, and recently in 2017 proving that working at reducing your stress during and before and even after medical fertility treatments is really critical to success. There have been a couple of recent studies I'm going to go into in a little bit that are proving this. So I wanted to come back to this topic because stress is something that we all deal with on a different level every single day. And I feel like certainly something that couples battling infertility probably deal with more than if we weren't battling infertility. And it's not to say anyone's stress isn't stressful or important to work on, but we need to be working on stress when we're battling infertility. So the two studies that I've mentioned that are new have come out of India and out of Chicago, the United States, both showing that yoga specifically is incredibly beneficial for women who have had an unsuccessful IVF and who are proceeding to the next medical fertility treatment. And the number one reason why is because yoga encourages breathing and encourages you to slow down, but it also encourages exercise, which is incredibly helpful for stress reduction on not only a chemical level, but an emotional level within the body. And it also helps you feel proactive, like you're doing something really, really great for yourself. I have all the statistics I'm going to put on naturalfertilityinfo.com, or all the specifics, I should say, of these two studies. But for the sake of this talk, yoga has shown in both of these studies to reduce anxiety in preparation for and during medical fertility procedures, and of course reduce stress, lighten the mood, and what else does it say here? It's particularly essential and was beneficial for anxiety levels. So some of you understand, having gone through IVF, what the stress of that is and anxiety levels, all of the wondering and waiting and is this medication working, and are all these injections I'm doing helping, and what are my embryos going to be like, and will I get more than one, or if I get a lot, how many do we implant? Do we freeze them or do a fresh cycle? You know, the list of questions and things to worry about can go on and on and on. Not to mention what you go through after the embryos are implanted back, whether it's a fresh cycle or a frozen cycle, and that 2-week wait time. So the thing to think about is working on your stress ahead of time so that you've got tools in place that you can use during and even during that 2-week wait and after, and yoga can be one of those things. Many women enrolled in online and in-person yoga classes and had significant reductions in their anxiety scores after doing these yoga poses for several weeks, about 16 weeks. And if you think 16 weeks is a little over 3 months, it's that exact time that we typically say to follow a natural fertility program before beginning to try to conceive. A little bit longer, but it's doable. Yoga in addition to your program is doable. So we know yoga as a tool to increase blood flow to the reproductive organs. We know it to reduce stress and anxiety, to increase oxygenation within the body. Can be supportive of libido and stretching out, releasing tension, strengthen the endocrine system, and obviously reduce stress, but encourage a positive mindset too. You know, those are all things that across the board people understand about yoga. So anyway, the 2 studies were specific to yoga, and that's what reminded me or brought me to this topic. I wanted to remind you all, if you are going through IVF as a medical fertility procedure, that we have our IVF checklist. Sorry, it's a little glary. It's free. IVF preparation checklist. It is at ivfchecklist.com. It'll come to you in your email inbox, not like this. I get a fancy or a nice printed copy, but it's not something, it won't come to you like this. You'll get several emails with all of the tips in it. So if you're preparing for IVF or even thinking about it, even if you're not even really sure yet, but you're wondering, take advantage of this free IVF checklist. I think you'll really appreciate it. And all the things in here that we talk about can benefit you even if you decide not to do IVF down the road. So think about those things. And if you are interested in a yoga practice that's specific to fertility, we have an ebook, the Natural Fertility Yoga Program. This is for purchase. It's very inexpensive, $9.95, and you can download it immediately after purchase. It's filled with 20+ poses and variations where applicable. It's a lovely, nice little tool if you're wanting to learn some easy fertility-specific yoga poses. But we also love restoring fertility, yoga for optimal fertility. This is a 2-series set of poses that you can do during your period, during your follicular phase, while you're ovulating, and during your luteal phase. It's awesome. So think about this if you're interested in yoga. But beyond yoga and the studies and what we know about yoga reducing stress, there are other things you can do to boost your fertility and work on stress management before, during, and even after fertility treatments if they happen to not be successful, which sadly is the case for a lot of people that we work with. Of course, we want you to create and follow a natural fertility program. That can start with a fertility cleanse. If you've been on Periscope for the last several weeks, we've been talking about cleansing. It should include diet. It should include exercise. Your program might include smoothies. It might include herbs for endocrine system health, herbs and nutritional supplements to boost egg and sperm health. And it should include an emotional health component. It can be anything. It does not have to be yoga. I understand that's not everyone's cup of tea. But affirmations, tools that help you reduce stress when you're in a stressful moment, emotional freedom technique. You can learn breathing techniques, maybe a Qigong movement. We just learned that in our team meeting this week. Some stretches. Reach out for support. Ask for help from your doctor or a referral to a counselor or someone who knows how to help you through what you're going through in the stress of your fertility journey. Maybe an emotional health support group or a faith group is something that resonates with you. There are all sorts of different things you can do to reduce stress, but you can't please don't forget that your natural fertility program should include some sort of emotional health component. Whatever that is, I'm not attached to anything. And there are so many things that are known to work. It's really what's essential is that you find something that resonates with you and that you enjoy doing and you can stick with. I understand wholeheartedly and with all of my being how positive and helpful meditation can be, but it's not my cup of tea. I struggle so much with meditation, especially when I'm left to do it on my own. If I'm in a group and it's a group-led meditation and someone else has initiated it and we're just going to do this as a group, I'm all in and I can do it. But if I'm sitting in my bedroom in the morning, waking up going, I'm really happy today, I know I should meditate for 5 minutes to start the day, I don't do it. I close my eyes for 5 more minutes or I do something else. It's just my reality. So I found for me that writing positive affirmations works way better. Exercise is a fantastic stress reduction technique for me. I walk my tush off all the time. I'm walking outside. I walk on my treadmill every morning to start my day. If I'm getting tense at work, for example, you see me sitting in my chair, right? This is my workspace. If I'm tense here and I'm frustrated, I stand up and I sway myself, just anything, really anything to help you reduce stress, let go of that tension, something. You have to work on that piece for sure. But beyond that, when it comes to medical fertility treatments, there are some other things to consider, and some of them you might not be expecting me to say, but I'm going to. If you're going through a medical fertility procedure and you're feeling rushed and the timing is not feeling right and your gut's telling you need to slow down, you have to voice that to the medical team, your care providers. Let them know what you're feeling. Let them know how it's stressful, because stress counteracts all the positive stuff that you've been doing and trying to do to support your fertility. So it's okay to take a break. It's okay to stop trying. It's okay to ask for a little more time. I understand with IVF and IUI and medical fertility treatments that money is involved and that there is a timed schedule. I do understand that. But your healthcare team should at least know what you're thinking about and how it's not feeling right, or you just need a little bit more time. If you haven't started yet, but your doctor's like, we can get going right now, and here's the schedule, and you're not feeling like it's right even then, you're allowed to take more time to prepare for that medical fertility procedure. So if you're in a place where you're just not feeling like timing is right, take time off. You could even take a few days off from taking all your supplements and charting your BBT and tracking cervical mucus and having sex and all of it. It's okay to just take a couple days and stop and be you. Go on a walk. Go on a little shopping adventure. Go get a latte. Treat yourself to something that you've kind of restricted yourself from having on your journey. Take some time to just really think about what your heart wants at that point. That's really important for helping manage the stress and the tension during this time too. After you've had a little break and you're feeling better and you're thinking about getting back on your program, certainly start your natural fertility program again. And then think about talking to your doctor a little bit more and think about perhaps what else is involved in the procedure. If you've had a failed IVF or IUI and you're getting ready to do another one, some things to think about asking are, have I really fully addressed the issue that led me to this medical procedure? Do I need to work a little bit more to help my body in dealing with that issue? Have I done everything that I can? Ask your doctor if he has any theories or ideas or has determined why the medical fertility procedure failed. That might be really important in helping you know the direction to go in your natural fertility program or in the timing of the following medical fertility procedure. Does that make sense? Have you discussed with your doctor if there's any egg quality or sperm health issues, if there's chromosomal abnormalities when they join? Have you talked about those things? Should you be concerned about uterine lining health or egg health or age or, and maybe all of these things already going in, but if you have had a failed medical fertility procedure and are venturing into the second or another, think about all of these areas as you're going into that and talk to your doctor and your healthcare team about them. Perhaps you haven't had immunological fertility testing with a reproductive immunologist. That might be something to consider if you've had a failed IVF or multiple failed IVFs. Has there been preliminary genetic screening with the embryos? Often there is, but you could ask if that's something that was certainly done or not. So just to recap, your stress reduction is involved in a natural fertility program as you prepare for either trying to conceive naturally or another medical fertility procedure. If you're not feeling like timing is right, you have to advocate for some time off for yourself so you're not feeling rushed and extra stressed by the schedule and perhaps not doing as much as you could naturally or on your own before going into the procedure. Make sure you're asking questions of your doctor. They need to be able to answer all of those questions for you and get you answers and talk through those things with you, because if they're weighing on your mind, that's going to contribute to the stress and the anxiety. And answers help. Answers can either help you know where to go with your natural fertility program or how to plan out the medical fertility procedure, but they can also ease your mind. Maybe you're worrying about something that you don't need to be, right? There certainly is a lot of area for worry when you're going through infertility. And lastly, I want to just go back to ensuring that you're continuing your natural fertility program through this whole time after you've taken your little break, if you choose to do that, right, and starting again. And then talking to your doctor about how to properly wean or discontinue those things that you're on, the herbs and the nutritional supplements and the natural therapies, or how to shift them so that they're supportive of you during your medical fertility procedure. Certainly continue to work and use those stress reduction techniques, but if you've incorporated yoga in a part of your program, you would probably want to switch now to prenatal yoga, so yoga that you can do in pregnancy. There are supplements that some medical doctors don't mind or know that can be continued during medical fertility procedures. That's not something you should do on your own. You need their guidance. They have to approve that you do something, or continue to take something. And in general, herbs should be discontinued within 2 weeks of starting medications of a medical fertility procedure, unless your doctor says otherwise. Now, most doctors don't know about herbs, so discontinuing or weaning off before you begin that procedure is going to be best. But your doctor should know everything that you're doing in preparation for that procedure. So to go back, what prompted this talk is some new research that's come out or been done on yoga and its benefit, its proven benefit to the degree of like 46%, actually 43% increase in success levels for women who had a failed IVF and then proceeded to go into FET. Yoga is proven to be incredibly beneficial for a variety of different reasons, but also there are other stress reduction techniques that you can use should use before and can use during a medical fertility procedure, whether that's working on affirmations. I teach you how, and our former senior herbalist Eileen Barton has some information on naturalfertilityinfo.com about affirmations. We have a YouTube video about IVF affirmations. Go find that. It's also on SoundCloud. I believe it's also on NFI too. I think we've kind of put it everywhere, but I talk you through some IVF affirmations. If you prefer to hear someone repeat them so you can repeat them to yourself, you're welcome to download that and keep it on your phone and plug it in when you're ready. There's the emotional freedom technique, which is tapping in different areas. There's exercise, there's medicinal baths, or even just baths, period. Certainly counseling and seeking support if you just really need someone else's help and guidance. Meditation, qigong, tons of different stress reduction techniques really, but ultimately my point was find something that you can stick with that you love. Journaling is another one. Something that you can stick with that you love that will help you when you're having an anxiety moment or a stressful moment throughout your journey. It's important to have those tools on hand, and you can have multiple tools. You can switch between them. Most of us do, and that's completely fine. Even just shutting off your cell phone and plugging in a chick flick or a movie that you love for an hour can be adequate stress reduction. So anyway, I hope I've given you some helpful tips. If you're interested in more information about fertility yoga, we can get that to you. If you're interested in more information about stress reduction and all of these things that I've talked about, you can contact us. We will link you to guides and articles on how to do that, or you can search through our sites on our own. Many of these things are free to you and inexpensive. Certainly a yoga DVD and our natural fertility yoga program aren't, but they're rather inexpensive and you buy once and you get to have it for your whole journey. And please make sure that your doctor understands how you feel if you're embarking on a natural fertility program and you're not feeling that the timing is quite right, or you're curious about why things are moving so quickly or taking so long, I guess, on the flip side of that. And all of these things are completely fine for men and women. Infertility is equally as stressful for men, we're finding, as it is for women. There's been some new research coming out showing that too. It's just that perhaps maybe some men aren't as vocal about it or don't show it as much. But if your husband is dealing with fertility stress, these tips are equally as important for him as well. All right. Well, thank you all for joining me today. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you next week with another topic. I'm not quite sure yet. Thank you for joining me today. I hope that you have a wonderful weekend. Bye.